Okay, let's just jump right in. We have all been there, right? That one conversation you keep pushing off, the one that gives you that sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach just thinking about it. Well, today we're going to tear that feeling apart and figure out how to turn those dreaded tasks into moments that actually build stronger relationships. You know that feeling of dread? It's completely universal. It doesn't matter if it's with your boss, a teammate, or even a close friend. The stakes just feel incredibly high. But what if I told you that you could rewire that dread? What if you could see these moments not as a confrontation to survive, but as a real opportunity? So, first things first, we gotta understand what we're actually up against. I mean, what turns a simple difference of opinion into one of those, a difficult conversation? Turns out, there's kind of a recipe for it. Think of it like a 4-ingredient recipe. You start with a basic disagreement. Then you add a layer of complexity. It's not a simple yes or no thing. Then you stir in a whole lot of emotions, which, let's be honest, can totally hijack our brains. And finally, the big one, consequences. There are real stakes. When you mix all 4 of those together, yep, you've got a difficult conversation on your hands. But here's the twist. This is the crucial mindset shift you have to make. If you handle that exact same recipe well, it stops being a recipe for disaster and becomes the catalyst for something amazing. It's a chance to really understand someone, to build some serious trust, and to make your connection even stronger. The outcome isn't about the topic, it's all about your approach. And that approach, it starts way before you ever say a single word. Success in these conversations is almost always decided by how well you prepare. So let's talk about what that prep work actually looks like. Your prep work really boils down to 2 huge things: getting crystal clear for yourself on what you need and creating a space where the other person feels totally secure. Let's dig into each of these. Okay, before you even think about scheduling the talk, you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. What is the one thing that truly matters here? What's your absolute non-negotiable? Figuring this out helps you cut through all the noise and stops you from getting dragged into arguments over tiny details. It's about knowing which hill you're actually willing to die on. This is all about creating psychological safety. And believe it or not, the physical room you're in makes a huge difference. You need somewhere private where you know you won't be interrupted. Try to make it neutral ground, not your office, not their office. And for goodness sake, get rid of distractions. Phones away. The message you're sending is, you and this conversation have my undivided attention. Now, safety isn't just about the room, it's about the vibe you bring. It's a 2-part deal. You need confidence, which tells the other person, hey, don't worry, I can handle this and we'll get through it. But you also need compassion, which shows them you actually care about them as a human being. That compassion is what opens the door for them to be honest with you. All right, prep work is done. The stage is set. Now it's game time, the moment we actually have the conversation. Let's walk through exactly how to navigate the dialogue itself. Step 3 is all about how you start. And trust me, this opening move sets the tone for everything, and I mean everything, that follows. So instead of launching into your side of the story, you're going to flip the script. Start with a genuine question. Invite them to share their perspective first. And at this point, your only job is to listen. Seriously, don't argue, don't defend yourself, just seek to understand their truth. And that leads us right into step 4. This is where you go beyond just the surface level stuff to find out what's really going on. This is such a critical skill. You have to separate how someone feels from what they did. You can absolutely say, wow, I can see why that would make you feel so frustrated, without saying, yeah, you're right to do that. Just acknowledging their emotion shows respect, and it's that respect that lets you both move forward. So you've listened, you've validated their feelings. Now comes what is maybe the hardest part of this whole thing: managing the emotional temperature in the room. When emotions start to run high, your job is to be the anchor in the storm. If you feel yourself getting defensive or angry, just take a breath. And if the conversation starts to get heated, you gently guide it back to the objective, observable facts that you can both agree on. Think of facts as your reset button. Now this is a game changer. A feeling is subjective, of course, but the fact that you are feeling it is an undeniable piece of data in the conversation. When you both start treating feelings as facts you have to work with, instead of arguments you have to win, everything changes. Okay, so you've navigated the tricky emotional parts of the dialogue. You've both had a chance to speak, and hopefully you both feel heard. Now it's time to pivot. We have to stop talking about the problem and start building the solution. Pay close attention to this because it's so powerful. If you keep your focus on the past, who did what, who was wrong, you just get stuck in a blame game that goes nowhere. But the second you shift the conversation to the future, what can we do differently? How do we move forward from here? The entire dynamic changes. It becomes about possibility. And this brings us into the home stretch, our final 2 steps. This is where you take all that amazing conversation and turn it into a concrete plan and, you guessed it, an even stronger relationship. Now, look at the order here. This is so important. You don't just march in and announce your grand solution. You ask for their ideas first. That creates buy-in. Then you can offer your own. And from there, you build a plan together with clear steps that you both commit to. It's not your solution, it's our solution. How you land the plane is just as important as how you took off. At the end, just quickly summarize the plan you both agreed on. And then, and this is key, sincerely thank them. Acknowledge that this was tough and that you really appreciate their courage for showing up and having the discussion. It just reinforces that you're a team and ends everything on a really positive, respectful note. And finally, one last thing. Don't think for a second that the conversation is over just because you left the room. It's not a one-and-done deal. Schedule a quick, informal follow-up in a week or so to check in on how things are going. This shows you're serious about the commitments you made, and it keeps you both accountable. So, instead of dreading that next tough talk, I want to leave you with this question. Think about that one conversation you've been avoiding. You know the one I'm talking about. What if it's not a threat? What if, by using these steps, it's actually the single greatest opportunity you have right now to make a key relationship in your life even better?